Throughout most of the whitetails range, fawns are starting to move around a good bit. Now, if you're in South Florida, South Alabama, South Texas, you know, that rut's at a different time. But for the vast majority of whitetail hunters and hunting properties, by this time of June, those fawns most of them are up and scurrying around. There's a big pulse of fawns late May, early June, just like the rut, and then there'll be some kind of trickling down. It's a bell-shaped curve of when fawns are born, kind of starts out and starts going up steeper and steeper and then drops off. It trickles out there because some does just breed later or even breed a second time, cycle through a second or third time. And that's what you can expect when fawns hit the ground. And seeing those fawns out there is really cool. And man, we're seeing some fawns, you know, twins, singletons. I know when I see fawns, if I've just now barely got enough food for the amount of mouths out there, or if I don't have enough food for the amount of deer out there, the food plots or native vegetation's already heavily browsed for the year, I need to harvest more does or improve the habitat or do both at the same time. That's the best plan, to do both at the same time. Something else you're gonna see this time of year, if you're using some quality trail cameras or you're out in the woods a lot, you're gonna see predators, primarily coyotes, with the fawn in their mouth. Fawns are, you know, 6 pounds, give or take where you are in the habitat quality. That's just 6 pounds of primarily high quality protein laying there that's not gonna outrun a coyote for a couple of weeks, first few weeks of its life. And we've been getting folks sending us their moultrie pictures of, you know, coyotes carrying fawns. We just know that happens, and predation is certainly part of the natural cycle. In some areas, the predator-prey balance is out of sync, and there are so many predators, they could be limiting the prey's ability to sustain or increase their population. I recall many years ago, a friend of mine did some really intense research in South Carolina on a very large area. And they did some really cool research. I won't share the details, but they had transmitters that popped out when the fawn was born, popped out a doe when the fawn was born. So they knew right where the fawn was born and the time, and they would, you know, instantly put a crew out there to try to find that fawn and weigh it, or find a kill site and take swabs, and from that swab they could get genetic material of the saliva and stuff there and determine if that was a coyote, bobcat, domestic dog, whatever killed that fawn. There was an extremely high number, I'm going from memory, but it was close to 70% of the fawns were consumed by coyotes. It was a huge number. Now, that was probably a rare situation, but no doubt coyotes take the lion's share on some properties of the fawns. Then we got black bears. They can take a lot of fawns in some areas. Matter of fact, in some areas, black bears are reported to be the largest fawn predator in that area. Bobcats take fawns, so it's not easy. Bambi, you know, that was just a story, folks. That's not reality. And a lot of fawns won't make it. In some areas, that's a good thing because hunters aren't harvesting enough does, and that herd would overpopulate even more. Here at the Proving Grounds, we have a pretty significant doe harvest, and we determine the need for doe harvest about August, and we can see how our native browse and our food plots are looking. Do we have enough groceries for the amount of deer we have? If everything's looking great, we could probably back off that doe harvest some and let that population build up more. By that time, the coyotes have taken most of the fawns they're going to take. They're big enough to run around and probably escape most coyote attacks. And if our, you know, food plots and native browse, it's looking lip high. They've just browsed everything they can. Even with predation, we need to harvest more does. We need to make sure there's enough groceries out there so each deer can go through the winter in quality condition and good condition, because without groceries, no deer can express their full genetic potential. Seeing fawns on camera is really cool. Seeing the fawn in the mouth of a coyote, well, that's disturbing, but it is part of the natural cycle. I don't like it, and we trap here to try to find that balance between predators. We want predators. I like hearing a coyote call every now and then, but making sure our deer herd is sustaining or growing its population at the rate we're managing for. So seeing both is a good thing. Seeing one disproportional to the other can mean your management plans are out of whack. There's no doubt coyotes take more fawns than adult deer, but they certainly are capable of taking down an adult deer. I remember my professor at the University of Georgia, Dr. Larry Marchson. He was the first guy to put a radio collar, not GPS back in the day, but a radio collar on deer, and he's following one of his prize bucks. Radio collars were real expensive, and boy, they guarded him like a hawk. And while he was working with this prize buck, wild free-ranging buck, I think a bobcat, if I remember Dr. Marston telling me correctly, took it down. He was amazed. Certainly we get pictures, people share video of just happened to coyotes take a deer down, an adult deer down in front of a trail camera. What are the odds of that? So if it's happening there, it's happening even more. So coyotes are vicious predators, especially when coyotes start hunting in packs, almost like mini wolf packs. They can certainly take down adult deer. Trail cameras have been a tremendous tool to help researchers and landowners learn much more about wildlife populations and behavior of the species they're studying. Something we need to do, and it's even easier than using a trail camera, is seek God's Word every day and apply it to our lives. That's one of the best ways we can learn how to live a good life and enjoy creation. Thanks for watching Growing Deer.